Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the Managing Director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As the title of this video suggests, or maybe I shouldn't say suggests, but as the title of this video bluntly thrusts out there, I as a Thai have to ask the question, is WEF colonization being courted by our Prime Minister here? And look, I know that she and I don't see eye to eye on all policy things pertaining to Thailand, okay? I've made the videos on that, but when the no confidence vote went down, I made the videos I made, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, I do think she has proven to be the right answer for Thailand for the moment. I think she's been a overall pretty competent PM overall. I mean, as far as doing the job, fine. She didn't seem to be as over the top as her predecessor, Mr. Sreta, who seemed to be enamored of the WEF and the French and everybody else he talked to that wasn't Thai about what should be happening in Thailand. But now we have this situation, so let's get into it. I thought of making this video after reading a recent article from thaigov.go.th, so let's bear in mind, this is from the Thai government's own news organ, okay? Article is titled, PM Meets with Head of WEF. Now, let's first of all start by saying, what is the World Economic Forum? Okay, I've discussed this at length in many other videos. You can just type in WEF into the search function of the channel. You'll see everything I've talked about. But one, this is not the UN, okay? This is not a, internationally recognized by bilateral or multilateral treaty legal organization. This is a private organization of individuals who have their own private interests and private agenda. Their main agenda is to push public-private partnership, which at first sounds kind of innocuous. And here in Thailand, we do have a lot of public-private setups, but Thailand has a unique history of that, and it's very different from the Western concept. Basically, in the Western concept of public-private partnership, to paraphrase Mussolini, you're talking about the marriage of state and corporate power, which what does that mean? That means when they want to use state power for non-accountability, they use it, and when they want to use corporate power for non-accountability, they use that. It's basically heads I win, tails you lose kind of proposition when you're talking about public-private partnership. Then on top of it, I would say the WEF is basically the current incarnation of what was once also called the Comintern, international communism, which I've often described as serfdom with clerks, is all communism really boils down to. And again, this WEF organization would really like to see a sort of international, you can call it one world government, get into all of that. I don't like using those buzzwords, but call it a supranational organization that's basically dedicated to top-down, really totalitarianism. And, their own words speak for themselves. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. Well, I don't want to live in that world, okay? Because one, when you own nothing, you aren't happy, okay? Go talk to a homeless person sometimes. See how happy they are not owning a home, okay? I mean, it's pretty ridiculous stuff. Okay, so that said, quoting further, PM meets with head of WEF, May 20th, 2025 at 14:30 hours at the Purple Room, Thai Koo Pha Building, Government House, Mr. Mirek Dusek, Managing Director of the World Economic Forum, who seems to have replaced Klaus Schwab, who became so onerous as a frontman that they had to sort of retire him because he was wearing around these weird Darth Vader costumes and saying all kinds of weird stuff. Not weird, totalitarian stuff. Quoting further, paid a courtesy call on Prime Minister Paetongtarn Shinawatra. Government spokesperson Jirayu Hongsub disclosed gist of the meeting as follows. Interesting, gist of the meeting. Not a record of exactly what was discussed. No, just sort of an overview, if you will. Meanwhile, again, do not lose sight of the fact this is not somebody from the UN, okay, which, I had my issues with the WHO, especially during the so-called COVID pandemic. Whatever, at least they have some level of international legal legitimacy because they sort of are an emergent institution of international treaty. Okay, again, the WEF is a private organization. Why is it paying a courtesy call on our prime minister? Why is it doing so for purposes of top-down totalitarianism and to push totalitarian, neo-fascist, neo-communist agendas? Quoting further, the Prime Minister thanked WEF for selecting her as one of the young global leaders of 2025. So when I call her a darling of the WEF, this is exactly what a darling of the WEF does. And by the way, Klaus Schwab was actually quoted as saying they had infiltrated the cabinets of the world with their young global leaders. Okay, that was the word he used. Quoting further, which she was honored and expressed her readiness to attend the 2026 WEF annual meeting in Davos, Switzerland, as this would be a good chance to share the Thai government's policies with the global community. Well, why don't you just go to the UN? You know, you want to share with the global community. Who's the global community? The United Nations is at least, again, and you can have your issues with the United Nations, but at least it arose out of treaties between sovereign entities. You know, this WEF thing is a private event attended by global elites who pay a lot of money to go there. And it's not for you and I. It's not a public forum. Why are our public officials in Thailand attending these things? Quoting further, WEF Managing Director was pleased to learn about Prime Minister's plan to participate in the 2026 WEF annual meeting. He commended Thailand's proactive role on international stage and its policy directives. I mean, I love that it's either you'll own nothing and you'll be happy, or you'll eat bugs and things of this nature. And by the way, they say this, you know, or it's this policy gobbledygook, you know, like international stage and policy directives. What does that mean? You know, quoting further, especially the soft power policy to drive the economy forward and to seek new opportunities for Thailand and people. On the establishment progress of the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution, C4IR, WEF Managing Director disclosed that the feasibility study is being carried out in collaboration with the Thai agencies, particularly ministries responsible for technology and agriculture. So, Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution, and they're carrying out a feasibility study in collaboration with Thai agencies, Thai public agencies, with a foreign private consortium that does not have, call it the populist interest at heart. And I don't mean that in a political way. I'm not talking about any faction in Thailand politics. I just mean the little guy. Everybody that's not a member of the WEF, basically. Okay? Why is this institution engaging with our agencies, our government agencies, at all? Quoting further, WEF has had experiences in establishing such organizations in several countries with the aim to promote advanced innovations through collaborations between the public and private sectors. Advanced innovations like the vaccine passport, where they're going to track and trace everybody and make you get something that ultimately was not as advertised, was not safe and effective as they said, but they were going to track and trace you if you didn't get it, and they were going to restrict your travel movements if you didn't get it. Those kind of innovations, the you'll own nothing and you'll be happy kind of innovations, these are the innovations these great people are bringing to us. And meanwhile, did anyone in Thailand vote for this? Did anyone who voted Pheu Thai vote for this? Did anyone who voted for anyone in the coalition vote for this? Or the opposition vote for this? Did anyone vote for this? Does the average person in Thailand even know what the World Economic Forum is? Quoting further, and I notice again, collaboration between the public and private sectors. So again, where they need to use state power, they will, and where they can avail themselves of non-accountability through that avenue. And then they'll use corporate power where they can avail themselves of non-accountability through that avenue. Quoting further, as for Thailand, focus will initially be made on the topics of smart agro-technology and clean energy, and will later be expanded to cover such topics as AI and food technology, which are relevant to the government's policy. You know, I mean, I'm just going to quote that again. As for Thailand, focus will initially be made on the topics of smart agro-technology. What's that mean? What are they going to start putting in our food and water here? You know, and are any of us going to be put on notice of any of it? Or is it all we're just going to get the gist of it when they have these meetings with this supranational organization. And bear in mind, say what you will about the decade or so under the, they called it the junta. I kind of preferred to think of them as the shoguns, but whatever. The generals after the thing in 2014, they never attended the WEF. I talked about this in other videos, and I quoted the Bangkok Post directly on that topic. I mean, again, say what you want about them, and there's a lot to be said, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying everything they did was perfect, but at least they seem to have the national interest at heart. Whose interest is this? What is the supranational interest? Especially where we people, us pleb folk, who just vote in or vote for a party, and then this prime minister gets put in, and then they just go and meet with the WEF and start implementing these policies that nobody that I can see ever voted for on any party platform out there. And we don't even know exactly what they're doing. Again, what exactly does it mean smart agro-technology and clean energy? I mean, Germany is clean energy now, which is basically they're deindustrializing so they can be clean. Most of Western Europe is doing the same thing. How's that working out for everybody? Quoting further, and will later be expanded to cover such topics as AI and food technology, which are relevant to the government's policy. What policy? What policy has the government put out that we have seen that anybody got to vote on that comes directly from the WEF? Where is that? Because I don't remember him talking about that. And then also food technology. We've come back to this multiple times. GMO, all of this kind of stuff. And I'm not even necessarily anti-GMO per se. I do get that certain technology, can increase crop yields, etc. But from an organization that's told us they want us to own nothing and be happy, that basically champion the totalitarianism we went through during the COVID nightmare, I am very hesitant to just let them come in and just start accessing and setting policy within our agencies and things here in Thailand. Why? Why are we doing this? And again, did anyone vote for this?